firstly, Derek, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So, Derek, can you tell me a little bit about your career and how Holyport was a suitable career choice for you?
Ooh, that's a nice question, that, because career-wise goes back a long way. Obviously, I'm very, very old, so that makes things a little bit more difficult to remember what's been going on in the past. But basically, I started off as an apprentice at Southampton Football Club, injured my knee, stopped playing professional or serious football, and ended up going to non-league football. From the start, I started off at Slough Town, going for the reserves, and managed to make it into the first team. And then from then on, as we've gone on, I've played for just about every club locally, and I've managed half of them as well, I think. So it's been one of those sort of local area football for the rest of my career, really, all the way through till today, where we find ourselves at Holyport. The reason I chose Holyport was I sort of had enough of a lot of travelling. I was in the Premier Division with Didcot and people like that, and going out on a Tuesday night and not getting home until sort of 1 o'clock in the morning after a game, and having to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work. I just got fed up with that sort of amount of travelling, really. It was a case of I wanted something local. I just moved into Maidenhead, and I just happened to bump into a couple of the guys, and they said that the manager was sort of stepping aside. It was back in 2010, and I sort of came down, met the guys, had a chat, and we hit it off really well, and they offered me the job, and I took it and not looked back since.
So how different would you say the non-league game is compared to what you'd watch at the professional level? In terms of aspects of watching it as a spectator and obviously being a manager in the non-league game as well.
It's completely different, but it's the same. Although they get all the frills and the spills, and they get all the little sort of side issues and stuff like that. Whereas we just at non-league level, it's just a case of we get out, we play football, we enjoy it, we socialise a little bit, and then we then look forward to our next game. We don't have that sort of training regime that obviously the professionals have. So what they do in a few hours, that would probably take us a month, really, because we only get 2 hours on a Tuesday or a Thursday if we haven't got a midweek game. So training time is sort of very, very precious. But the nuts and bolts of it is it's a game of football, and the idea is to try and win, obviously, and score goals and not let any in. But it's not that easy.
You mentioned that you've managed a lot of teams in the local area. Why are Holyport a team that people should watch as opposed to some of the teams that are also doing quite well in the local area?
I just think that we sort of every game. If you watch Holyport games, every game there's lots of effort. There's lots of good football on show. The people that involved around the club are really nice. When I first came down here to have a look at it, it was a very, very friendly place, and that was what really tipped it over the edge for me to say I want to work there, because everyone's so friendly. It's such a nice area to play in. Pitch is decent. The surroundings are really, really nice, apart from in the bleak winter, of course, when it's freezing cold and stuff like that. But in general, I think it's going back to that grassroots football. It's like blood guts on thunder, really. You're trying your best to beat the opposition, but at the end of the game you shake each other's hand and you come off and you just think like, wow, that was enjoyable.
Obviously we've got loads of amazing volunteers that come down and help out the club. Tell me what that means, obviously being a manager as well, having all these volunteers helping out and supporting the club.
I think it's absolutely superb. We couldn't do it without them. That's the thing. We couldn't survive without the volunteers, without the people that sort of come down and help out a drop of a hat sometimes. And you often see a few of them turn up on match days to support the side as well as to help out. It's part of making it that nice, happy sort of family, if you like. And I know the players really do appreciate the fact that the pitch is in good condition. It's we're looked after. They don't have to sort of they don't pay subs like some sort of non-league sides have to pay subs and stuff like that. So I think it's a case of it's a professional outlet as much as possible at a non-league level.
So obviously the club is constantly growing, obviously with the volunteers as well, and the more volunteers coming through, it's obviously helping the club grow. So in another 5 years' time, where would you like to see the club in terms of on and off the pitch?
I think, being realistic, a club of our size is at a stage where we could probably go up one more division into the Premier Division and probably hold our own. But I think at the moment in the current structure, that's as far as we could go as a football team and a football club. Because obviously the rest of it then comes down to financing, and you know we're not privileged for that sort of that amount of money to keep us going and go up further up the leagues. So I think another division up into the Premier Division, which next season will be the new Premier Division. So that's what our aim is at the moment, to get there. So if that's possible, then that would be absolutely amazing for a club of our size.
Obviously, promotion didn't work out too well because obviously the restrictions with certain travelling and stuff. So in this Thames Valley League, do you feel the club will be able to thrive better?
I think it will make things so much easier, as we've already alluded to. You know, we've got a small band of volunteers that do a hell of a lot of work. So going up a level and maybe getting a few more people in the door, paying some money, will help towards that sort of that aim. You know, that we want to play as high as we possibly can. But obviously, it's got to be at the right time and not at the detriment of the club, that we could then end up going bust maybe a year or two after that because we've tried to reach for the stars and it's not possible.
Obviously, we've been denied promotion, I believe, 2 years in a row. Obviously not this season, but last season. Obviously with the inevitable effect of coronavirus and how the pandemic has affected grassroots football. How has the club managed to bounce back from that? Obviously from not being promoted due to the coronavirus pandemic.
That was a very, very tough one for us because we put a lot of effort into the season. At most of the sides, especially the top four sides, and I felt that the top four sides as it finished were probably the best sides in the division, and that's why they finished in the top four. But from our point of view, it was a first step on that ladder of getting back up to maybe try and getting into the Premier Division. So it was a real sort of a real blow for us not to be able to carry on and do that. But we've been fortunate that they've given us another option this year, that it's a chance to go again. So fingers crossed.
We'll see with this coming season. The club looks in a comfortable position, obviously, to get in that top four place. What would that mean for everyone around the club? How would it boost the morale of the obviously the players and obviously the spectators, volunteers, obviously yourself as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm as big a fan of Holyport as the people that watch us. I love watching the boys play. They give 100% effort week in, week out. Come, wind and rain or shine. They're there for the right reason because they love the place and they want to play football. It's a lovely place, and I just think everyone needs success, and that if we can manage to get promoted this year, then that would be sort of the thank you for the amount of hard work we've put in over the last few years. Over the last few years, and I think it would be a fitting tribute to everybody that's been involved with the club over the last 4 or 5 years that we managed to get back into the Premier Division.
Right, perfect. With obviously good luck for the rest of the season, and obviously if promotion at the end of the season would be a great reward. But obviously we appreciate everything everyone's doing for the club, and so yeah, it's perfect. Really, thank you for your time.
Pleasure. You're welcome. Thank you.